Thanks for coming. Thanks for sticking around. This day was no different than the other 14 this spring. I thought it was very physical. I thought the effort was outstanding. From my vantage point down there behind the quarterback, being in close quarters of the offensive and defensive lines, you really get to appreciate the trenches and the intensity taking place out there in the field, and it certainly existed again today. Just some observations and general comments. It's always never as good or as bad as it seems until you get the film watched and let it settle a little bit. But you can't win football games, turn the ball over like we did today, and getting takeaways as a defense. You give yourself an opportunity to win a football game. So when you're going against yourself, there's always good and bad with that within a program. A trademark of Wally Burnham coach defenses has always been to create turnovers, and they certainly did that today. Overall, through 15 practices as receivers, we've caught the ball better. We had too many drops today. We certainly have to get that cleaned up in the fall. I thought all four quarterbacks, the scholarship guys that are vying for the starting quarterback position had bright spots today. I thought they all moved our football team at times. We threw the ball deep today, and it's been a priority for us as we've gone through this spring, and we got that accomplished today as well. Just a couple guys that stood out to me. Aaron Horn, a new player in our program, stood out today catching the ball and turning up some big plays. Darius Reynolds stood out today, and that was exciting for us as he's missed a few practices this spring, was back in full force this last week and did a nice job. And Jevin Miller stood out again today with his hustle and his play, and certainly the turnover. I don't think he'll be available for interviews as he's showering and getting ready for pictures in prom. With that, I'll turn it over.
Coach, one thing is you have all four of your quarterbacks look mobile. You have a lot of receivers. You hear a lot of talk about running backs need to get into a rhythm. When you've got four running backs and so many other offensive weapons, how are you going to get those guys into a flow?
Well, I think you see that taking place, and you allow a running back to maybe stay in a rhythm is more of an accurate way of getting to that. If we got somebody that's hitting fast and hitting well, we're probably going to stay with them and not worry about getting four guys on the field. Jeff Woody has a niche in that he's a bigger, more physical back, so he's always going to be a part of it with short yardage and down by the goal line. We think all the other guys catch the ball well, so it's not a matter of we have a third down back or we have a first and second down back. As we go through fall competition, the starting tailback will be our guy, but in the middle of a drive, if we get tired or we just need fresh legs at a point or we need a jump start, we'll be able to do that.
What's the criteria that's going to move one guy or two guys ahead of the other two in the quarterback rates? Is it keeping drives alive? Is you mentioned the athleticism? Everybody showed that today. Is it who can complete the 3rd and 5 pass or keep the chains moving? What criteria are you looking for?
It won't vary from the three primary things that we're looking for. One of them was that athleticism, accomplishing things with their feet. I think all four of them have shown that all spring long. So that's nobody's going to jump ahead that way. Which leaves the other two things that I talked about at the beginning of spring was decision making and accuracy in throwing the ball. And I think those two things, Sean, will give somebody a leg up as they get to it on a consistent basis. Everybody's shown that at times. Nobody has surfaced as a guy that's done it every day, and that's what I'm looking for.
What do you think of the accuracy of the quarterbacks today?
I thought it was hit and miss. There were enough balls that were behind receivers that concerned me. Certainly they were battling one heck of a wind out there today. We've been blessed in the 2 years I've been back that we've had dang good weather in Jack Trice Stadium. This was as windy a day that we would have played in, and I think it had an effect on that. But still throws the ball going to his left, going into the wind, and it just looked awful. And I almost went over the sideline and said, you know, don't try to throw it down the field this drive again. And then a play later, 2 plays later, he throws a perfect bomb into the wind for a touchdown. So as each guy had those plays that he made, they missed enough to still leave me concerned with that.
Paul, are you pleased with the way things shook out after 15 practices overall? I mean, obviously, you're never happy with where a team is, but are you where you wanted to be after spring ball?
Yeah, absolutely. We scrimmaged Thursday half the practice, and I think got in 70-some snaps of scrimmage, and had somewhere in the neighborhood of 170 to 180 scrimmage snaps today. So to do that in a matter of 3 days, we made a lot of progress, and it's been the case the whole spring long. We've been physical, and the guys not once have turned away from that challenge. So yeah, I'm pleased. I just made a comment to Director Pollard downstairs that you know, every time a coach announces a recruiting class, that they all are pleased. Nobody's ever disappointed with the recruiting class. But I don't know if any coach is ever completely thrilled or satisfied with the spring game and how things went, and there will be no different for me today.
In your version of the spread, how often do you do the handoff to the backs typically?
Percentage, you know, the amount of times that those plays end up to the back are dictated by the defense. So let's say we ran 20 of those types of plays. You know, it could go 15, 10, 5 based on what they're doing on the perimeter and what we're reading. You know, our running backs are going to carry the ball. Mid-20s is what I would like to see. The position carry it to mid-30s by the time a game breakdown gets done.
Just to clarify, did anybody or any two guys separate themselves in the Derby at quarterback, or as the spring ball ends, it's a 4-horse race?
It's a 4-horse race,
okay.
And that would be without this final observation and evaluation. What's missing in this final evaluation is a good bit of the offense. Things were vanilla down or up, however you say that today, with what we did both offensively and defensively. So there are certain things that the guys got to accurately execute. We didn't get to evaluate today, but as we finished up with Thursday's practice, everybody had a chance to run the number one offenses out of those 4 guys. And Tom and I met on that yesterday, and yeah, nobody has eliminated themselves, and nobody is a step above anybody else.
Jerome,
And that's okay.
Jerome today had, you were talking about the deep balls, big plays, had a couple of good ones to the money rounds. How do you think he played?
I think he might have had his best scrimmage of the 3 big scrimmages that we had. As much as anything, I think Jerome matured playing through a little pain the last half of spring practice. And I challenged him to show his teammates that. Everybody was aware that his elbow was sore. It was noticeably sore at times out there today in the stands, as he let everybody know it was sore at times by how he reacted to it. But playing through that shows your teammates that you're willing to give it up. And that's important for that position if you're going to be a leader.
Can you tell us about Tufty at this point?
X-rays were negative.
Okay.
Extremely pleased with that. He's in a boot. They were optimistic if we were playing next week that they might be able to get him ready, which gets us out of spring ball with no major injuries that will keep anybody out of August camp. Very, very pleased
Was
with
it
that.
ankle?
We got a
Ankle, yes.
We got players coming in. I
Yep.
don't wanna lose them. So
Okay.
Thank you,
Ankle.
Coach.